Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Didi Got a Podcast. I'm your host, Didi. First, we had Megyn Kelly.
Feel as a victim. You feel a victim. To people who are going to be out there, because you know some are going to judge and say you were 15, you were 16, you were 17, you were a willing participant. Again, the legal age of consent in California is 18, so there's no consenting for a 14 or even a 17-year-old in these circumstances. As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it kiddie, now they call it child abuse material, on his computer, that for the first time I thought, oh no, he was an actual pedophile. I mean, only a pedophile gets off on young children use videos. She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore. Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10. I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. Look, you can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. You know, it's just whatever.
I don't totally disagree with the last thing she said there, but I don't totally agree with it either. Because yes, there is a difference between an 18, 19, 20-year-old compared to a 2-year-old. However, it becomes a really slippery slope when we're talking about 11-year-olds and 8-year-olds, right? That's a 3-4 year difference. What's really the difference there? What's really preventing you from being or wanting even younger children? But here's the bigger problem. What Megyn Kelly said overall is a lie. That is not the only type of individuals that Jeffrey Epstein was attracted to. If you saw my last video, surprise, surprise, that was also shadow banned, which is 3 videos of my last 5 videos that have all been shadow banned. I'm pushing the limit on YouTube. But we covered a guy by the name of Sasha Riley, an Army veteran who is an alleged victim, arguably one of the youngest victims of Jeffrey Epstein, being that he was 5 years old. And he vividly claims to remember not only Jeffrey Epstein, but Donald Trump, Supreme Court Judge Clarence Thomas, Senator Lindsey Graham, Jim Jordan, and he speaks about children being unalived, and the list goes on. And that's just one story, because over the last year, we've reacted on Patreon alone to maybe 3 different people, including an ex-girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein, that spoke about what she witnessed from Trump, things that Trump was interested in, things that she know for a fact that Jeffrey Epstein said that Trump engaged in. And while I will say that Sasha Riley is easily the most inflammatory story that we've heard as of yet, nonetheless, if you've read the Epstein files, the little bit of Epstein files that have been released, and done a little bit of research, then you would already know that Jeffrey Epstein was sent 12-year-old triplets from his rich friends from France as a birthday present. So it's just not true. But that was Megyn Kelly changing her tune from 2018 to 2024. Now I want you to take a listen to what Nick Fuentes just said 2 days ago.
This whole pedo thing, it's like, really, I don't want to be the one that has to say it, but I guess I'm being forced to say it. It's not really okay? They weren't 5-year-olds. It was like they were technically not legal. Big difference, in my opinion. I know that's a controversial take, but that's not really the issue there. Okay? The issue is not that they were barely legal teens, which is what it is. It's horrendous. It's awful. It's okay, relax. No, the issue is that Epstein is a Jewish spy, probably working with Israel. That's the dilemma there. He's working with Israeli intelligence.
No. Anybody, I saw that Sneeko and a couple of other people that are quote unquote friends with Nick Fuentes tried to clean up a little bit of what he said or what he meant by what he said. No, he was very clear about what he said, and it's disgusting. Who cares? Because once again, first and foremost, it's a lie. Jeffrey Epstein was interested in much younger individuals, and that's been documented all over the place. And even though the age of consent is 14 in some countries, I understand that. I still look at it this way. If you're attracted to prepubescent children and teenagers or preteens, that's 11, 12 years old. And to Megyn Kelly's point, some of them could pass for younger. So if you're 12, 11 years old, what age are you passing for younger as? That would have to be what, 8, 9 years old, 10 years old. What's the difference between dating someone that looks 10, but's really 12, and dating someone that's actually 8? Or I shouldn't say date is the wrong word. You get my point though. It's still disgusting. It's still wrong. And I was still classified in the same category. You're a predator that needs to be dealt with. Which leads me to my biggest point. Why does this even matter? Why is it even a big enough point for Nick Fuentes to even address it, to make this distinction, for Megyn Kelly to make this distinction? Who cares? This is wrong. This is a predator. This is not something you would want your 13 or 14-year-old doing. This is not a man you would want around your children, or at least I would hope. I also want you to notice that the biggest issue for Nick Fuentes is the fact that Jeffrey Epstein, number one, was Jewish. Number two, he was working with Israel. And that alone right there is what the biggest problem was. The biggest problem isn't the ring that he was involved in. The biggest problem wasn't the fact that he was violating children. The biggest problem is that he was working for this foreign country that Nick Fuentes is obsessed with. And for many reasons, are legitimate reasons that he's obsessed with that country. But that shouldn't be the most important thing here. But I also shouldn't be shocked about this, because this is the same Nick Fuentes that calls anybody a conspiracy theorist that believes anything other than what the feds are saying about Charlie Kirk. He also calls you a conspiracy theorist and a low IQ individual if you just happen to entertain the possibility that Brigitte Macron, who is the quote-unquote wife of the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, if you entertain the possibility that this person could actually be a biological male. As if Nick Fuentes knows exactly what the gender is of this person. He says that if you believe what Candace Owens or anyone else such as Xavier Broussard, a journalist based out of France, despite the overwhelming evidence to suggest the fact, if you believe them, you're a conspiracy theorist and a low IQ individual. So I probably shouldn't be shocked to hear this at all. But I'm not even shocked to hear this from Nick Fuentes, because this isn't the first time Nick Fuentes has either said something very similar to this, which leads us to believe that he doesn't even believe in the age of consent, for those of you that don't know. Or he's been around people like Destiny, who have either jokingly or in a serious manner made statements that are inappropriate.
I think the age of consent should be lower. I don't even really believe in the concept.
No, bitch. I want to drink it straight from the tap. I want it raw. I don't want to wait a moment. Right when the milk is good, I want to start drinking the milk. Same thing goes with women. I don't want to turn 30 and find some 20-year-old 29-year-old woman that I have something in common with, and it's like, hey, properly aged like wine. Women don't age like wine, they age like milk. They don't age like wine. That's not how their hormones work. That's not how they work. Yeah, I gotta find my 16-year-old wife. Probably when I turn 30 or something. Because here's the thing, I don't want to be like, let's say I get married to a 18-year-old now. 6-year age difference. When I turn 40, she's going to be 34. Ew. What if I'm 30 and she's 16? 14-year age difference. When I'm 50, she'll be 36. When I'm 40, she'll be 26. Then now we're talking here. Now we're cooking with gas. Now you can see an alternative vision for how things could be. I want a 16-year-old that's untouched, pristine, untouched, uncorrupted, innocent. That's what we all want. And all 16-year-olds want an older guy who's like capable and strong and everything to sweep them off their feet. That's what everybody wants.
Good guy here, yeah.
Children.
Well, they're hotter. Based. Let's go. That's why we love him. That's why we love this guy. Good guy here, yeah.
Children.
Well, they're hotter.
And here's the thing for that last clip of Destiny. For those of you that want to say, people joke all the time, he didn't mean this. First and foremost, I don't know if he meant it or not. Second of all, even if you're being quote unquote based just to revolt against someone that is being super sensitive and you don't really mean what you're saying, here's my take on that. I wouldn't joke about something like that on the internet. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not joking because someone could clip me out of context. Not when it comes to children, bro. That's not something I'm joking about. I want you to know my stance, especially when you're as progressive as Destiny is. It's going to be a lot easier for somebody like myself to believe that you actually meant that. So in my opinion, I know many people have been calling Nick Fuentes a Fed, especially over the last 6 to 8 months after his Venezuela take, after his horrendous Charlie Kirk take, seeming to take and believing the narrative coming from the Feds, or as they would call it, the Fed slop. He's literally been defending it. And now he's making these claims about Jeffrey Epstein. It's just weird. It's just all around weird. And it leads me to believe that this guy is another one of those people that's been placed into position and made to believe, oh, he's been banned for 10 years and everybody's against him. But there's somebody funding and pushing this guy. That's what statements and moments like this make me believe. But those are just my thoughts. Y'all in the comment section and give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think, man. I'll catch y'all in the next one.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.